With the launch of Act 2 this week, roaming supers got a giant buff to their uptime. But do you want to have your super up even faster and then make it last longer than any other roaming super in the game? And you might want to try out Crown of Tempests on Prismatic Warlock. This will get you your super back extremely quickly, let you spam abilities constantly, and keep your Stormtrance up constantly. It's going to keep it up so long that I won't know what to talk about during this intro, but that's okay. I'm Engineer. Let's talk about the exotic. You might notice there's two here, but I'm first going to cover Crown of Tempests. This exotic does a fantastic thing where as you get arc ability kills or jolt kills, it'll give you stacks of conduction times, and those will give you up to 500% base grenade, melee, and super regeneration rate, as you can see here from the Destiny Data Compendium. But on top of that, it'll also decrease your super drain as you're using it, topping out at 65% reduction of your super drain. And this, you can keep topping off as long as you just keep getting those arc kills, which you should be doing in Stormtrance. Now, the one other exotic, which I won't really be using as much in the gameplay here, is Stormdancer's Brace. And this is also very good. It lets you increase the damage of your Stormtrance, which is pretty great because it doesn't do the most damage, and it'll refund some of your super energy if you can get a good bit of kills. Both of these are great, but I'm going to focus on Crown of Tempests because I love ability spam, and I think that's what Prismatic really feels best with. For sources of these exotics, Crown comes from the base game, so you can get it from anywhere. Stormdancer's Brace only comes from completing the Shadowkeep campaign, so don't forget to do that. As you're trying to acquire these, make sure you focus on your normal best stats. It's resilience, discipline, recovery, strength, and a little bit of intellect. Mobility is generally a dump stat on this. One last note on Crown of Tempest, it's more of just a novelty, but it will actually decrease the super drain of any super. That's hard to keep up because conduction times only last for 7 seconds, but you can actually do it in Song of Flame if you can keep getting jolt kills, which is a fun little interaction, but not super useful. The super regen side of it does actually work on any super though, so if you just want to spam your supers a little bit more often, it's great for that as long as you have arc abilities to use. Getting into the aspects and abilities, we're of course going to take Feed the Void, because that gives you the improved Devour, which will heal you as you get ability kills or any kills once you get it active, and give you grenade energy back. You can see the Destiny Data Compendium snip here of exactly what that does, but if you've built with Warlock before, you're probably pretty familiar with it. Next aspect I want to take is Lightning Surge. Lightning Surge is actually pretty good now. It's gotten a few buffs. It gives you amplified as soon as you cast it, has great damage resistance while you're doing the slide, and it does pretty solid damage. You might see a fall off in this as you get into master or higher level content, just because melee is a hard place to be at such power delta. If so, you can take Hellion instead. It's ranged, it's solid, not much to worry about, and it does pretty well. Now, as for your grenades, I definitely recommend Storm grenades because you need at least one arc ability to keep Crown of Tempest going. If you take Storm Dancer, you don't necessarily need this, but Storm Grenade's a solid grenade for AoE damage, which is what we're specializing in here. For your melee, we want to take Arcane Needle. It's the best. It does damage over time. You have 3 charges, does good damage, and those 3 charges really help if you're running Lightning Surge. Your class ability, any of them's fine. I like Phoenix Dive just because of the fast regen, but you can take whatever you want. Moving over to Fragments, a lot of the staple ones here. We want to take Faceted Protection because damage resistance is always a great thing to have. Faceted Balance will help you keep spamming those abilities, so we want to take that. Faceted Dominance is dual purpose here. It'll give you Jolt on your Storm Grenades, but it'll also give you Weaken on your Transcendence Grenades, which gives you a really good handoff between ad clear and boss damage. I also really recommend Facet of Awakening, because as you get those rapid elemental final blows, which is all we're doing, you're going to get Ionic Traces. And that goes into one of our artifact perks. Facet of Sacrifice kind of helps balance you out on that Transcendence energy, so you can also spam Transcendence. It's a really good way to get super energy back too. But if you're in a boss damage situation, you might want to take Facet of Courage, which lets you do a little bit more damage to bosses just by putting your Arcane Needle and Ravel on them and getting that 10% increased damage. Now that's for mods and armor stats. On the armor stats front, it's pretty standard. You want max resilience, you want max discipline, and then you want good recovery and strength. If you're running Lightning Surge, get as much strength as you can. You won't need too much recovery with Devour, and then intellect you always want to keep at least 30 so that you don't take a passive super gen penalty. On your mods, we're doing everything possible to make orbs and super energy. So we're going to take Ashes to Assets and Hands-On on the helmet. We're going to take 2 firepower mods so that we can spam those grenades, and we're going to take a heavy-handed. is we want to make all those orbs. Chest is always resistance. On the legs, we're going to use those orbs to get our ability energy back. And then our class item, we're using Reaper to make a little bit more orbs, Powerful Attraction to pick up the orbs, and Bomber to get a little more energy back. Now, one mod that I do want to highlight is Power Preservation on your helmet. What this does is it makes an extra orb for your allies every time you get a kill in your super, which you will be doing for quite a long time. The super can last for about 25 seconds. So this is absolutely recommended with this new roaming super meta. Always put this on with the roaming super. It's going to make your teammate very happy and help them get their supers back so they can do the same for you. Let's talk about artifact mods. We have a few that help arc. We have Trace Evidence, which will give us more Ionic Traces when killing arc debuffed enemies. And we have Curative Orbs, which is really only good when boosted, but it'll let you pick up a Orb of Power or an Elemental pickup and get health back as well. Since we're doing Ionic Traces, those will come back to you and automatically heal you as you collect them. It can be pretty helpful. Lastly, we have Conductive Cosmic Crystal, which gives you 5% more damage with your arc abilities on stasis debuffed enemies, which can be great if you have a stasis teammate or just chill clip weapon. Briefly want to talk about weapons. One thing on this build is trying to balance out prismatic energy. So in your kinetic darkness slot, I recommend something that can do that. My favorite is Lost Signal, which is the stasis area denial grenade launcher from episode Echoes. Sprinkle it on some enemies, some stronger enemies or some bosses. It'll just take up that darkness energy pretty quickly. On your energy slot, it's nice to have a jolting weapon that can also proc Crown of Tempests. Jolting feedback is my current favorite, and you have Vantage Point from episode Revenant or VS Power Electric Repellent from Vesper's Host. On your heavy slot, it's really flexible. Whatever the situation needs, you're not really running any surges, so you can use any element here. Very flexible because we're focused on our abilities. Now, I want to show you a little bit of gameplay to cover the gameplay loop. So it's really not complicated. You spam your grenades and you spam your melee to generate that ability energy. In between, deal whatever damage you can with your primary because primaries generate super energy really well. If you have large clusters, your grenades are going to make a little bit more sense here. And then if you have kind of stronger enemies, your lightning surge is going to do a little bit more damage and also kind of slow them down, it seems. You can see here, we're less than 30 seconds in and we've already pretty much got the super back. So we get here, we pop it, boom, and now we can just stay in Stormtrance. We have 90% damage resistance and the super, so we can just keep floating around, electrocuting all of our enemies. We want to keep those conduction times up, just get a kill every 7 seconds, which isn't too hard with this kind of super. See, it's just about to fall off here, but we refresh it, so it just keeps going, and the super just keeps lasting. I actually almost run out of enemies here, and then the super finally cuts out. As you can see, it works really well. Get your super back really quickly, makes it last longer. Really good for long endurance activities with a ton of enemies. I think this is really great. Storm Dancer's Brace is also a great option. It can ramp up a little bit in damage, but your super usage will be a little bit shorter. Hope you've enjoyed the build. Let me know if you have any comments below. Feel free to like and subscribe. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks.